What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you a conversation with Azircon. And I'm sure many of you guys have heard him or seen him. He was on the People's Guild podcast a couple of months ago, and he's a frequent collaborator or commenter in Mav Chat as well as all over Discord for Splinterlands. So, Azircon, I want to say thank you for taking the time to chat today. I know we're going to get into a bunch of topics. First and foremost, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Great, great. Glad to hear that. I know we're going to dive into. You had reached out to me about just wanting to share your perspective on things, and I thought that was really important. And so, before we jump into anything, I want to preface this conversation with this because I think it's important. You're let's put it this way. I don't agree with everything, all the perspectives that you have on things. I don't agree with sometimes how you push the ideas that you have or how you carry it out. I will say this though. Never at any point have I looked at your intentions and where you're coming from as something as wanting to do harm to the game. You're obviously a very large stakeholder of SPS and I'm sure many other assets. And unless you're just trying to throw money away, I would assume you're not trying to devalue those assets in any way. So at the end of the day, I think it's important for, even if I disagree with you, even if other people disagree with you, I think it's important to have these conversations because a lot gets lost in just text-based conversations. Sometimes there's no emotion, sometimes there's too much emotion that's projected on there. But like I said, I've never found anything that you've been, or I've never assumed that you were coming from a place of wanting to do harm to the game or whatever the case is. And so I think out of a place of mutual respect, not just our conversation, but hopefully all and more conversations like this in the future can be had.
Yeah, sure. And I actually want to address each of the point that you mentioned. First is that there are certain things, many things that you don't agree with me. And there are many things a lot of other people don't agree with me, and that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
And there are things that I don't agree with other people. So which is mutual, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So that's one element. The other element is that you mentioned that how I project myself and my agenda. So let me start from there because
Please. Yeah.
that is actually a very good point. And so the first thing I'm going to say that is quite deliberate. There is a reason
Sure.
I push it,
Mm-hmm.
right? There is a reason I act the way I act. Okay, and it is 100% deliberate, and there is and I will tell you the reason is quite simple. A lot of people don't understand what stake weighted governance means. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and the stake weighted governance is, it has nothing to do with Splinterland came much later,
I
right?
mean, Hive's been doing it for a long time. So
Exactly. So Steam, it started with Steam,
on
which is
Steam, yeah.
which has become Hive. That is sort of the onset of stake weighted governance. Okay, and Vitalik Buterin has a very nice paper on it. You can read it. I recommend a lot of other people to read
Mm-hmm.
it. And he did the paper after the Steam Hive hard fork, and how community governance rally together against a hostile takeover. So I was right there when that happened, and I was part of that governance
Okay.
from the very beginning. Uh, so stake weighted governance is something that I take very seriously, and it goes very deeply within me. And the way it translates to that, if you own certain assets in the game, NFTs, whatever that might be,
Mm-hmm.
tokens, governance token, whatever that might be, you are a part of the ecosystem. And if it is Web3 gaming like our game Splinterland, you typically earn something. Your assets value sometimes increase in price, other time decreases in price. But price fluctuation is something you cannot control.
Sure.
But one of the things that is expected from this kind of play to earn games are, if you spend certain amount of time, you actually get rewarded.
Hmm.
right? And rewarded by usually a token, an in-game token, right? That's the model. That's the basic model.
Yeah.
So on top of that, there is this layer of governance now, right? So layer of governance means you own certain tokens, and due to that ownership, you actually have certain certain elements that you can control within a game or within an ecosystem by a series of actions, and those series of actions are stake weighted. That means more stake you have, more control you have over the ecosystem. Correct? that
Correct.
is that
Yep.
is the way stake weighted governance or stake weighted token works.
Hmm.
So a lot of people don't understand this. This is primary element of the ecosystem. This ain't a democracy.
Agreed.
This is not a democracy.
Hmm.
When you vote on a proposal and you are choosing something that is behind that proposal, this is not a democratic process. It is a stake weighted governance process.
Hmm.
So your vote, your stake matters, and it is proportional to your stake. So if you own 1000 stake SPS, you can vote. Certainly, you are welcome to vote. I value your vote.
Hmm.
But if you have 1 million stake SPS, that is not equal.
Of course.
The 1 million staked SPS has a much more say in the governance compared to 100 SPS. So a lot of people do not have a lot of difficulty understanding this simple concept. And
Well,
I want to make my thinking visible on that.
sure.
Go ahead.
I would say it's not that they have that they don't understand it, right? I mean, stake weighted governance is, the more you have, the more your vote counts. I think what ends up happening is you'll get a lot of players or investors that don't have the governance but still want to have their voice heard in many ways.
Yes.
So here's the thing. I agree with you. It's not a democracy, right? I've jokingly called it like a decentralized oligarchy because at the end of the
Yes,
day,
it
it's
is.
it's all like the top holders. But the
Mhm.
thing is, nobody is stopping you from becoming a top holder. You can go buy
Exactly.
SPS on any decentralized exchange, stake
Yeah.
it, and it doesn't matter who you are. That's the decentralized approach to this versus,
Yeah.
I guess, traditional oligarchies. So
Yeah.
I agree with you in that sense, and in a way, the game is very much run by, we'll call it the top 20% of SPS stakeholders who make up, the 2080 or so, the top like 80% of SPS staked, we'll call it. But what ends up happening is a lot of the discourse, whether it's through Discord or YouTube comments or on Twitter, that tends to take all of the comments together, and in that way, each of these comments is kind of like on an equal footing, right? Because it's just everybody having a conversation without their stake weighted vote coming in.
Yeah, so actually, in this particular case, since I have the computer right in front of me,
Yeah, if you want to share your
we can
screen.
actually do a much better job in terms of who controls how much. So I do agree with you, but I want to be even more specific than what you just said. So I went to the Splinter Stat, and this is the rich list of staked SPS.
Hmm.
Okay, and when I look at it, and I'm looking at it right now,
Do
and
you, do you
I'm
want to
going
present
to
your screen or just let us know?
I can do that. And how do I do that exactly?
On the bottom of the control, there should be like a present tab, and then I'll be able
Present
to add,
tab.
yeah,
Okay.
or present, and
Share
then you can pick
screen.
share the screen or
Yeah.
share the specific tab maybe that you want or window.
I only have one monitor. Screen sharing easiest with two monitors.
Oh, you
Share
can choose
screen.
like a specific tab if it's in the same browser. You
Oh,
can choose
okay.
another
All right.
window. Yeah.
Let's see if you can see this. Do you see anything?
Yep. Perfect.
Okay.
So let me go ahead.
So
I'll add it
this,
in
I'm
right here.
sure you have been to this particular page. This is Splinter Stats. We have something else called Splinter Card and all that, right? Are you
Yeah.
familiar with
It's
this?
yeah. I mean, it's all just the rich list, right?
Yeah, it's all. There are a whole bunch of other things, but that's the one. That's the page I have
Hmm.
open, and
Yep.
this is the staked SPS. So when I look at it, So this actually gives you top 200 distribution of the rich list of staked SPS.
Hmm.
And you mentioned top 20. Top 20 is not directly listed here, but we can add. It's pretty
Sure.
simple.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, let's say top 50. Top 50 controls about 30%, right?
Mm.
29.18, about 30%. Top 100 is about 38%. Top 200 is 48%.
Hmm.
Now, after sound, please tell me what percentage of vote it needed to pass a proposal. 67%,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
67% majority is required, right? Now, we also realize not every single stakeholder votes, but most of the majority, like for example, number one, Go Splinterland 5, that's a VC account that doesn't vote and never voted yet. But
Hmm.
almost all the other top stakeholder votes. Not everyone, but
Sure. Yeah.
majority of them does vote. Okay.
Hmm.
So this, if you look at any other governance token in the planet, top 200 controlling less than 50% is actually a pretty good distribution in terms of lopsidedness, right? Because you mentioned the comment that, okay, a few wells can actually create a cartel and push a proposal through.
Well,
Now,
sure. Yeah. I
that,
mean, well, you know what? This is actually a great chart to put out there because I was obviously oversimplifying it, and now we have numbers here. So to your point,
yes,
that's correct. Now the thing is, at the end of the day, over time, I mean, I'm sure you vote in line with many of the other top holders,
yeah,
or you have. I know you do have private conversations with many of the top holders, right?
absolutely I do.
And here's the thing. I don't view that as a bad thing, and I would
Yeah,
implore anybody who views that as a negative thing not to say not to view it in through the lens of, oh, there's collusion, whatever. Like, you guys are all the top stakeholders in the game. I think
mhm,
it's actually important that you guys have
yeah.
those conversations with one another to make sure everybody's kind of in alignment with where the future of the game is heading.
Absolutely. And I typically have conversation with almost every key voting stakeholders,
Hmm.
at least in the top 20. Not everyone, again, not everyone. Not everyone is approachable. Not everyone votes. So if you
Hmm.
don't vote, it doesn't matter. A lot of people on the top 20 I know personally, so I will obviously going to have conversation with them, right?
Of course.
And like you clearly pointed out, we are trying to do governance. We are governing. So without conversation, how can you govern? You cannot govern, right?
Yeah.
You have to have discussion. You have to have conversation. The other point I like to point out, and people take this as negatively mostly,
Hmm.
but and you can choose to be positive or negative. I'm not trying to push you in one direction or the other. This proposal system and governance, by definition, is a political process. It is not democratic, but it's a political process,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
I am a very political person. I mean, personally speaking, since I was a little kid, in my household, everyone is very political. They
Okay.
have very strong opinion. They take politics as it's meant to be. Like these days, politics means corruption. But if you read the political science, if you
Hmm.
read the literature on the topic, that is not the way politics is defined. Politics is not defined by corruption. Politics is one of the oldest thing in the planet, and that is actually in its original sense, it is one of the most fundamental elements of civilization.
Yeah.
It arguably, even the stone during the Stone Age,
Hmm.
probably the Neanderthal men have politics,
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Or even just
So,
the basic hierarchy of politics,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
basic hierarchy of politics, in essentially gathering together to achieve some kind of common goal. These are all political processes, right?
Hmm.
So since I am an extremely political person, I consider this entire voting system and governance as a political process. And in political processes, one of the one of the cornerstone thing that you have is lobbying. If there is an element, if there is
Mhm.
an element you are voting on, you can either lobby for it or against it,
Mhm.
right? And that's the way the whole world works. Now, you can call it collusion, you can call it corruption. I don't care what you want to call it.
Sure.
For me, it is a political process. If there is an element that we are going to vote on, I am going to either lobby for it or going to lobby against it, or in some rare cases, I can abstain for it. Like I don't care,
Mhm.
right? And that's what I do. That is exactly what I do.
Gotcha. Yeah, you can make the argument that politics runs everything throughout the history of the entire world, right?
Yeah,
Like good political structures have built great civilizations, and bad political structures have led to the decline of them.
collapsed it. Yes.
Yeah. So, my question for you here, because again, I'd like to think that I understand the process, and I've never called it a democracy. I think I agree with you on that sense. But obviously, with the kind of position that I've had here with the YouTube channel, I interface with a lot of smallholders, new players, and I think one of the things that always comes about is this feeling of being disenfranchised, right? Because they don't feel like their say or their vote has as much of an element, which I've
Yes.
always responded with: the best ideas in this type of situation are going to win, right? So the way that you can contribute if you don't have a lot of SPS is by putting the ideas out there. It's something I try to do on the channel, something I try to
Yeah.
champion. Because if it's an idea that catches your attention, you think is good, maybe
Mhm,
that person doesn't even have the 100,000 DEC to make a proposal for it, but
mhm.
they can get that funding, they can find that support, and maybe call me an idealist, but I do believe the best ideas can win in this type of governance structure. But how would you kind of address the people who are at the lower end of the SPS stake? And I'm not talking about the trolls and just people who complain, but the people who want to feel like they can be a bigger part of the governance, if despite not having the funds for it. What are the ways in which they could connect with you, connect with some of the other
Yeah.
large stakeholders, get their ideas out there in a more productive manner? Because I think you'll agree, sometimes the conversation in Discord, specifically map chat, can be not constructive, we'll call it, to say the
Mhm.
least. So what are the
Yeah.
ways in which people can do that in order to get the best ideas out there?
Absolutely. And again, I'm a very data-driven person, so I'm going to share data with you, right?
Mhm.
So can you see my screen again?
Yes, let me add it in. There we go.
All right. Standard Splinterland proposal page, right? So one of the game-changing proposal in recent time is proposal number 28. Remember that?
Hmm. Anti-bot.
Splinterland will try to implement anti-bot measures in modern format. This is the proposal that made modern bot free, right?
Hmm.
Would you agree that this is a great game-changing proposal?
100%. Yes.
Right. And who is the proposer?
The UK. I'm not even familiar with who that is. Someone you know?
Yeah. The proposal came from this guy called THEUKM. I do not even know how to pronounce this. uh, Oftentimes people talk about
Mhm.
reputation. You can look this person up. This person, the only thing that this person have done in Hive is essentially forwarded this proposal. I am looking at his wallet.
Mhm.
He has 39 HP. His Hive account is worth $13. So by no means this person is a whale. Is that right?
True, but
And we can.
they changed the fundamental nature of the game.
Yes, and I will also look up in Peak Monster. I'm going to look up his card collection. Do you see that
No, I'm still
uh,
on the proposal
on the?
page.
Yeah, because I only shared that, right?
That's fine.
So
Yeah.
I have
Well,
to
just go. You
stop.
can let us know.
Yeah. So basically, his card collection is $5,600 presently.
Mhm. Oh, that's more
Okay.
than I was
So
expecting, actually.
Yeah, so 5,000. I'm going to stop sharing and reshare.
Sure.
Stop sharing, and I'm going to reshare this screen because seeing is always believing. Share screen. I'm going to do Big Monster. Share. How's this now? Do you see it?
Yep. Perfect.
Theukm. Theukum. His card collection is $5,600. Would you call this person a whale?
Probably not.
Right. Okay. So I
I mean,
rest my
not
case.
in a relative case, but yes.
Yeah. So I rest my case. Stop sharing. So here is an example. Here's a perfect example of a virtual nobody proposing a proposal, a game changing proposal
Hmm.
that has changed the permanent infrastructure of the game. Now, this is not something new. We
Hmm.
have discussed it before this proposal. This was discussed for hours, days, weeks,
Hmm.
months, right? We hate bots, we do not want it. There was salt, and so much
Yeah.
salt on this, right?
Hmm.
But nobody, including myself,
Took action.
nobody forwarded a proposal.
Yeah.
But this person did. And we voted on it and we passed the proposal at 74% vote.
Hmm.
So 74% is more than supermajority. 74% of the stake shareholders or stakeholders of Splinterland actually wanted a bot free league. And we got a bot free league.
Yeah. No, that's a great example. And I mean, when it passed, that was one of those things where, like you, I always point to that and say that here was one of the ideas that did rise to the top. We had talked about it for so long, and it just took somebody to actually take the action, right? In this
Yeah.
case, actually spending 100,000 DEC, taking the time to write a thoughtful proposal, and also, getting feedback from the team, getting feedback from Matt, because I believe Matt was in the comments
Yeah.
talking about
And
that. Yeah.
also, notice in this proposal, if you actually read the proposal text, the original text is
Yes.
extremely simple.
Hmm.
It was like only half a paragraph, essentially, that Splinterland will do anything to stop bot. And then Matt came in and Matt wrote a comment. But again, even with the addition of the comment, the proposal is extremely simple.
Hmm.
There is
Yeah.
no if, but, coconut in there. Okay.
Yep.
Now let me go to the other end member of the spectrum. Dave McCoy, we all know, right? So
Hmm.
Dave is a very active community member. He's a large stakeholder. He's one of the what we call OGs of the game. I am
Sure.
not. Dave is,
He's
right?
been around
So
longer. Yeah.
so Dave is longer than me. I mean, Dave has
Just
from the alpha days.
just for context, I'm curious. When did you join again?
I started in January of 2018, but I
Okay.
was skeptical about the game in the beginning. So game was launched in front of me.
Hmm.
However, like the alpha was launched in front of me, but I did not buy any alpha. I did not buy any beta cards. Like
Ah, okay.
it moved along. I am 100% aware of it. Other people are doing it, but I was not on board
Got it. Okay.
at that
Until
time. And we can talk about it. Why and why it took it so long. What was
hmm.
my thought process? But let me continue on this
Yeah, yeah. Sorry. Go
Dave
ahead.
thought. So Dave did the two proposals, right?
Hmm.
Two back-to-back proposal. Actually, two proposal came out at the same time. One is Battle Helper, and one is bot, anti-bot in
The
uh,
tournaments and brawls.
tournaments and brawls, and then the other one was Battle Helper,
Hmm.
right? So everybody was on board on the anti-bot, and that was I'll check real quick. What was the percentage on that? I'm looking. Where did that go? Yes, so that was passed at 93%.
Hmm.
But the anti-battle helper proposal was one of the hardest contestant proposal that I remember in recent times. It
Yeah.
was 69%.
It was very close.
And it was very hard to pass. And one of the reason it was very hard to pass is Matt, who is kind of, we consider him the guru of everything game.
Hmm.
Matt actually voted against it.
Yeah.
right? Matt voted against it. And Matt's thought process was extremely transparent. He said, well, I cannot implement it. I do
Yeah.
not have a way to implement it. So yes, it could be a nice proposal, but if I cannot enforce it,
Yeah.
how I'm going to deal with it? And in response to that, what Dave and I and many others said to Matt is, Matt, this is the deal. I don't care if you don't have a way to implement it. We are not going to think about it from that point of view. All we are saying, we change the TOS, the
Yeah.
rules of the game.
Yeah.
If we change the rules of the games, if running battle helper is illegal, most people like to follow the rule. And if they don't follow the rule, they feel guilty. And as more people feel guilty, ultimately the guilds take over and they follow the rule. That's the way world works. Otherwise,
Well,
I could never go to office,
there
right?
were many people who I know and I respect their opinions that voted against it
Mhm.
because of the fact that they're maybe a little bit more cynical about the world where
Yes,
people don't feel guilty, and when money is involved, they will find a
yes,
way to get an edge,
yes,
right? As long as they know that they can't get caught, and even
yes,
if they know they're going to get caught, they might still be able
yes,
to make it worth their while.
yes.
And so I
And world
understood that
is
argument.
full of people like that.
Yes,
World is full of people like that. But that doesn't mean we do not change the rule. Because
agreed.
if there is no rule, there is no defense,
Hmm.
right? There is no defense. It is legal. If it is legal to cheat, then you cannot stop cheating
Well,
in
the culture
exam.
then becomes cheating, right? And we kind
Right.
of
The
saw that.
culture was then become cheating, and that
Yeah,
is exactly what happened. That everybody was running a bot
yep,
because either you want to run a bot or you just gave up and want to run a bot because there is no other choice. Everyone else is doing it, so you are doing it,
exactly. Yeah.
right? So we cannot have that. And clearly, there is a right answer here. We were right, and Matt was wrong.
Hmm.
Why? Because not only we passed it, we have implemented it, and you go out and you see majority of the battle helpers are gone. I mean, I'm not saying all of them are gone.
Sure. Yeah.
I will never claim that.
Hmm.
But wouldn't you say the current situation is better than the past?
Well, 100%, right? Because it's again, you're never going to catch everything, but we're trying to build something here. When you build it, you want to
Yes.
build it properly, right? And therefore having kind of like the right approach, building the right culture, the right rules around it. You're always going to get people that want to break those rules, especially if there's a financial gain or incentive involved. But ultimately, even just going, removing 60, 70, 80% of the people that were, or accounts that were engaging in that kind of behavior, you can see the disparity between modern and wild. You can see that, the rewards are significantly higher in modern. This is
Mhm.
what it's like when you actually try to compete against other players, other top players in the game that
Yes.
are about your level, rather than just, hitting on all the bots that are climbing. And I would say that people can make an argument for and against it, but if you peel back all the layers and just look at the foundational level, what's the kind of game that we want? We should be aspirational because we're at the cutting edge, right? This is Web 3. We should be trying to make a game that has, no anti-competitive behavior in it, or as little anti-competitive behavior in it as possible. Because unlike many other Web3 games, and I'm not trying to put Splinter on a pedestal here, but definitely back in 2021, we had a game that was actually fun, that was actually competitive. There's obviously a new wave of things coming out now, but we had a game in 2021, and when many other projects were just ideas and token distributions. And so being able to get that right over the past couple of years, I think is important.
Yeah. And it's a process, it's a continuous process. Since a lot of people don't understand this, we are still at the cutting edge.
Hmm.
We are still doing something that most people haven't done. We are building a community, a lot of places do not have it. We are creating value from an ecosystem, a lot of people do not have it. Is it reflecting in price all the time? No, it is not. Is your cards are increasing in value all the time? No, it is not.
Hmm.
Right? But that is not, you cannot control price. That is one of the things a lot of people expect and a lot of people believe. You bought a set of NFT, and this I am now talking directly to you, right?
Okay.
What's your expectation? You are a stakeholder. You are a NFT holder for this game, right?
So you're
So
asking what?
you have invested money, right?
Mhm.
Cards. You have
Sure.
cards,
Yeah.
right? You have cards, which are NFT for this game. So you have invested money, and what do you want? You want return.
Hmm.
Not only what you want return, you want return within a period of time.
Sure. Yep.
And whatever that time is, that is in your head. You have decided that.
Hmm.
So, and I do not know your time frame, and everybody's time frame is different.
Sure.
But whatever the time frame is, you have a time in mind and you want to see a return. At least you want to get your money back and then some,
Hmm.
right? Every people think about it this way. The trouble is, if we are 500 people, and 500 is no magic number, and every time I say 500, people will come back and say, oh, no, we are 5,000 people. Great,
Hmm.
you are 5,000 people. I don't care about the number,
Yeah.
right? We are a small, uh, I have two daughters. My daughter's PTO in HISD has 1,800 parents,
Hmm.
right? So currently, I don't think more than 500 people plays modern. Okay, it's a fact,
Yeah.
right? If you look at the modern,
Look at the amount of battles.
and that basically tells you the number of people, because the number in wild doesn't matter. One
Yeah.
person can have 10 accounts,
And just bought
can
it.
have 50 accounts,
Hmm.
can have 500 accounts, and they can run it, right? They
Hmm.
actually did. We know that, right? There,
Well,
if
they
you go
still
to
are
buy
too.
sell,
Yeah.
yeah, you go to buy sell channel, you still find, I mean, I think they have all sold out mostly, but
Hmm.
you still find 2,000 accounts for sale,
Yeah.
right?
Still
You
happens.
find
Yep.
that. So the wild, the numbers are meaningless. The numbers, they are meaningless, right? So let's say we have 500 people. It's a very small group of people.
Hmm.
And if there is no external influx, if this is a relatively closed system with very limited external influx, how are you going to make money? How is your asset value going to increase in price? That's impossible.
Yeah.
The only way it can increase in price is you sell to the next guy and the next guy sell to the next guy, and if that continue to happen, there is only one direction this price is going to go, and that is downward,
Hmm.
which is what is happening. If there is no influx externally, if it is a closed system, and if everybody tries to gain value from their original investment, the investment can only go down. It's a Ponzi,
Exactly.
right? This
Hmm.
is a Ponzi scheme. And it sounds really bad, but I'm going to use the word because clearly I can. Why I can? Because I am not selling anything. So clearly I have no interest in talking bad to Splinterland, right?
Sure.
That is
Yeah.
one of the things. Splinterland is something that I protect, like I protect my house. That's the way I protect Splinterland. So I have nothing but the good things. But I know I'm just saying, just as a mechanism, what is a Ponzi scheme? A Ponzi scheme is a closed ecosystem
Hmm.
where you are essentially waiting on external people to come in and give you exit liquidity so that you can exit. The early people can exit.
And I would make the argument that that really started to take off, around the big hype wave in 2021. You had a lot of people who had that crypto mentality of buy low, buy scarce, and sell high later.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to get your thoughts on this. The true value of what Splinterlands isn't and shouldn't be just, hey, we make scarce NFTs and you should try to sell them at a higher price when more people come in, because that's not sustainable. I mean, Splinterlands or Steam Monsters is trying to be a game studio that provides value through entertainment, value that people are willing to pay money for, right? Without any expected return outside of entertainment, laughs, cheers, competitions, sadness from playing a game, right? And obviously that's overlaid with many people who have invested into the game expecting a return. But as you said, and as we were talking about earlier, this is very cutting edge. This is one of the first projects to really try to implement it at such a complicated or complex scale. And I'm sure we're going to see many others over the next couple of months and years. But how do we navigate that? I mean, what is the mindset that you have and the mindset that you think many other people should have when it comes to this? Because as you said, you're not selling anything. So what is the reason that you're not selling anything?
Yeah.
And how would you again, everybody's free to do however they want, but
Yeah.
how would you advise people to approach the game? Because I'm sure everybody has different ways.
Yeah. So first of all, I cannot advise people, right?
Sorry, not
I,
financial advice, all the
yeah. So
caveats.
I
Yeah.
cannot advise people. None of this is advice.
Hmm.
What I can do, I can tell you what I think about it, and
Please.
that is completely within my realm of
Okay.
discussion. So the way I think about it, and I have certain advantages that a lot of people do not have. So I cannot expect everybody to be like me. So I want to make that abundantly clear.
Okay.
Okay. So, but for me, I can always talk about me. And then maybe after I talk about me, maybe I can take it a level down and, talk from completely an opposite end member spectrum. So about me, the main thing uh, for me is I am financially free. Okay.
Hmm.
What that does, my entire investment in Hive, Splinterland ecosystem, and that's another thing. Our wallets are public, right?
Yep.
I can look up your wallet. You can look up my wallet. You can look up my asset. I can look up your asset. Anybody can do that.
Hmm.
And my assets are on my name, and that is right here. So, but this, whatever you see under Hive and Splinterland, that is an insignificant part of my net worth.
Okay.
Okay? So if this entire thing goes to zero, nothing happens to me. Okay. So what that does, if entire thing goes to zero and nothing happens to me, I really have no financial drive to make money from
Hmm.
this. Okay. So then obvious question that comes in. Okay, then what are you doing here? If you don't care to make money, why you are constantly harping about this and that, this economy versus
Well,
that
because the
economy?
opportunity
Why
still
are you doing that?
exists.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So why? I'll tell you why.
Please.
So the reason I am here is I support the cause. And when Aggie and Matt started this, they started not just a game. And this is nothing to do with Splinterland. It started actually earlier than Splinterland in Steam days.
Hmm.
And the cause, the thought process is peace, prosperity, and freedom.
Hmm.
That is the cause. We are going to make people financially free. That is the cause. People were doing this job, 8 to 5 job in a terrible, low paid environment, not just in the United States, all over the world.
Hmm.
If you look at general employee satisfaction, especially in the post-COVID time,
Yeah.
lot of people have actually quit their very well paid job and did whatever they wanted to do, open up a massage parlor, or
Hmm.
started a blogging in travel blogging
Yeah.
for as a professional, right? In
Hmm.
the COVID, there are numerous examples of that.
Yep.
My friends, several of my friends quit their extremely well paid jobs, post
Hmm.
COVID. So that is the cause. We wanted to try and build a game, and not just a game but an ecosystem. We wanted to build an ecosystem. That ecosystem will be robust enough, will be financially lucrative enough that you can live off it,
Hmm.
right? You can actually live a life of it. so that you do not have to do anything else. Okay, that was the original goal, financial freedom. Now, are you going to be rich? No, nobody promised that you are going to be rich,
Yeah.
but the promise was you are going to be financially free. At least that was the intent.
Hmm.
Are we successful in the United States? No, right? You cannot live off splinter land if you are in the
In
United
the
States
US, yeah.
right now with the current prices.
Hmm.
But there was a time, for a short period of time, there was a time where people can and did. People actually did quit their jobs, their day jobs, to play Splinterland. You know
Hmm.
that.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know that very well,
Hmm.
right? So, were we successful in the United States? I said already we are not. However, even at the bottom, even at the depth of the bear market, which is current, which is
Hmm.
near present, right?
Sure. Hmm.
There are people in different communities where they are actually living their life by playing Splinterland.
Yeah.
It's possible in Bangladesh, it's possible in India, it's possible in Pakistan, it's possible in Philippines, it is possible in Indonesia, it is possible in Nigeria, it is possible in Venezuela, it is possible in many of these places.
And we see those people in the
And we
community.
see those people.
Yeah.
We see those people, their full-time career, their full-time job, they are running the family still by playing Splinterland. I can name 50 people, and I know all of them
Hmm.
personally. So the question you need to ask yourself, or everybody needs to ask yourself, are we making a difference? I'm going to argue yes, we are making a difference.
Yeah.
We're making a big difference. And the question is, how are we making a difference? And here comes the whale pitch. Okay?
Hmm.
A token has value only because you say it has value.
Hmm.
The reason it is 1.4 cents and not zero point 0.4 cents is because there is certain people who are holding it and not selling it, right? If
Hmm.
everybody sells it, then it goes to zero. You know, there are numerous tokens. You personally probably invested in them and they literally went to zero, right? I
Yeah.
did. I raised my hand. I did.
Hmm.
Okay.
Lots of projects fail. Yep.
Lots of project failed. And not just crypto project, real world
Yeah.
companies fail, right? I mean, I work for a Fortune 500 company. I know many Fortune 500 company failed,
Yeah.
right? I was very closely associated with them. We are in Houston. You are in Houston.
Hmm.
Enron failed. That was an oil
Yeah.
company,
It's true.
right? So I
I mean,
work for an oil
yeah,
company.
the fail rate of startups is incredibly high. People don't really
Yes.
consider that, but yeah.
So why am I there? My second point, why am I there? Because you mentioned startup. I, as a person, I am incredibly interested in venture capitalism, VCs.
Hmm.
Okay. However, and I have many VC friends, they are involved in VC. I have friends in startups. I'm originally from India, right? And most of my friends, and I have a long academic career. I have two master's degrees and a PhD. So, most of my friends are academics, right?
Hmm.
Academics, or they're in different stages of in board of directors of different companies. All the major companies, tech companies you can think of. In most places, I have friends who are pretty high up and they at the executive levels, right?
Hmm.
So I am involved in many VCs. I go to Austin quite frequently and things like that for VC meetings. People are pitching this idea versus that idea. One of the thing I will tell you, in order to be a VC investor, you have to be accredited. So you know what that means, right? That
Haven't.
means your net worth has to be $10 million plus based on your previous three tax returns. That's the simplest way to put it. And there are other qualifiers, but
Is it
this is the
10
simplest
million
one.
or 1 million?
10 million.
Oh, it's 10 million. Okay.
Yeah, 10 million, and in the last previous three tax
Yeah,
returns.
yeah.
So again, but this is just the cutoff. This cutoff won't get you anywhere.
Sure. Yeah.
This will not get you in any boardroom. This is not going to get you to Shark Tank.
This is the bare
Okay,
minimum. Yeah.
it is not going to get you even in Holiday Inn Express in Austin. It is
Hmm.
not going to get you there. Okay, 10 million is not going to get you anywhere.
Okay.
So that's the thing. In crypto, you do not have a cutoff. Splinterland is essentially VC. You are VC. You, Aftersound, as a stakeholder, you are VC.
Hmm.
You are investing in a startup. You have stake in a startup. You participate in governance. You are a VC investor, Aftersound.
Well, that's the beauty of Web3. It removed
That's the
that.
beauty of
Uh,
Web3.
I mean, it's such a buzzword, but that is what kind of
Yeah,
almost like decentralization is, right? Now there's no gatekeepers to be able
right,
to go and fund projects that you
right.
believe in that could change the future. And there've been many. I mean, Splinterlands aside, you look at the top, I don't know, 50, 100 tokens on Coin Market Cap, and there's a lot of projects that have changed, the world in many ways.
Yeah. So, that's the allure, right?
Hmm.
So, we essentially, we as a community, and now I'm not talking about Splinterland community
Sure.
or Hive community, I'm talking about cryptocurrency as a community. Cryptocurrency as a community, that is the rebellion, right? That
Hmm.
is the rebellion against the conventional financial thinking. You essentially remove the floor.
Yeah.
You remove the floor. But with great power come great responsibility, right?
Hmm.
The reason we are struggling so much because we have removed the floor and there is no gatekeeper.
And
There
there's no
is no
enforcement either.
gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So if there is no gatekeeper, if there is no regulatory agency, governments will come after you.
Yeah.
And isn't that what is happening?
Yeah. Well, you'll first have plenty of projects that end up just being scams, right? And we've
That's
seen
right.
a numerous amount of that. And then
Yes.
when regulation comes in, the traditional world will want to do it exactly the way that they keep most of the control, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
we're seeing that battle play out right now.
Yes. Yes. And we are in the middle of it.
Hmm.
We as a VC investor, and I'm going to keep saying that you are a VC
VC.
investor in a startup.
Hmm.
You are in the middle of the battle. And the other thing I'm going to point out, and this is before I forget, and this comes back to the governance. It is not just your stake after sound. So I already gave you an example of an individual who doesn't have any meaningful stake, but actually made a significant contribution to the game. And that is permanent. That contribution that he provided, that's for the history books,
Hmm.
right? That's permanent. But there is another way you can contribute, and that is the way you contribute. What do? You actually make videos, you create contents, you talk to people,
Yeah.
right? You are making a positive impact to the ecosystem. You do not farm, and I will explain what farming is.
Hmm.
You do not farm. You and I, we have other discussion and other
Yeah.
time over the phone, in person, right? And I
Hmm.
explain what it is,
Yep.
what is farming, and what do you do, and how you are different. You are making positive contribution to the game. You have a voice. You are speaking right now,
Yeah.
and
Agreed.
people are listening, right? So
Hmm.
you are making a positive contribution to the ecosystem, regardless of your stake.
No, I mean, and that's again one of the beauties of Web3, right? I'm not
Yes.
technical. I can't code. I can't make cool websites like Splinter Cards, but I do. My background was educational background was in economics. I've spent a lot of time as an analyst, and so I understand a lot of. It's not even that I understand. It just fascinates me, right? So building kind of economies from scratch. So being able to hopefully provide value to the community through just having simple conversations and discussions, making videos that hopefully are either instructional, educational, or just plain entertainment is one of the ways in which I do it. And I try to encourage everybody to find whatever way that they can add value to the overall ecosystem, because like you said, it's not just about how much of a stake weight that you have. I mean, what's beautiful about Web3 is, whether I agree or disagree with other content creators and their viewpoints, I'm always happy when they post videos because they have a small subset of community and people that they reach that can add value, and they can bring into the ecosystem to be a part of that.
Yeah. absolutely.
Yeah.
And this kind of goes in circle, right?
Hmm.
So you get what you provide, right?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
see, think about it this way. I'm gonna take the question, turn it around, and put it on me. I give people a lot of shit, right? That's what that's what you implied, and I agree. I do.
Well, I wouldn't put it
No,
that
no,
way,
I am
but
saying it.
yeah,
I,
yeah, no,
I
I
am
know.
saying it, not you. I am saying it. I give people a lot of shit. It is very
Hmm.
deliberate. That's the first
Yes.
thing I said. It's extremely deliberate. Why do I do that? I do that for a reason. I hope I explained the reason a little bit, right?
Hmm.
I want to discourage farming behavior. I want to discourage, just because you have one SPS stake, don't expect you are going to have a say in the governance, right?
Sure.
I
Or in the
discourage
vote,
that,
in the voting of the governance, but yeah.
right, in the voting of the governance. You are not going to have your voice heard. Your stake is your voice, or you can have a mic like you, and that can be your voice,
Sure.
right?
S-
That is also your voice. So positive contribution, not farming behavior. So, but I was trying to spin it from the other direction. I give people shit, but I also take a lot of shit for that, right? So it
mhm.
is reciprocal. So I get what I provide. Now I am comfortable with it. Many are not. I have no problem
Okay.
taking shit from people.
So,
I know why I do it. I am comfortable in
mhm,
my skin. I sleep very well at night. I have no financial expectation from this game personally, other than I just want this ecosystem not to be successful, but to thrive.
mhm,
I want to change your life. I do not want to change my life. My life is, I am done.
mhm,
And I am not done because, I'm born rich. As you can see from my face, I'm a brown guy in the United States. Okay.
mhm,
So I am not privileged. I'm an immigrant.
mhm,
I'm an immigrant in the United States. I'm from India. I'm originally from India. I went to school, I studied, I did good, and I got good marks, got good grades, and went all the way through to college. And beyond and beyond, I kept on going.
sure, yeah,
And that's it. It's basically that's my life. So how did I accumulate my wealth? Is very simple. And there is no magic trick to it.
mhm,
My wife and I, we both work, and we both have an extremely well paid job, and we have this extremely well paid job for the last 17-18 years. So if you multiply it 17 times 2, you get 34. 34, 35 is usually a single person's working career. So between the two of us, we have done a working career.
mhm.
So we don't need any more money. It's as simple as that.
Okay, so I can understand where you're coming from, and I will say that as somebody who is not in that position, still trying to build out my career, for
Exactly.
example, and a lot of people around the world who view Splinterlands as a way to change their lives. I appreciate the fact that you have that perspective, but I'm going to push back and give you two things that I think would be worth you addressing. So the first of which, something that people talk about on Discord a lot, saying that the fighting in Discord, right? Or like just that we'll call it the banter. Sometimes it gets negative or toxic. That can drive people away. I'm wondering
Exactly.
if you've ever looked at that and thought to yourself, well, maybe I'm contributing to that.
Yes.
And then in a related fashion, so to give you an answer to an opportunity to answer both in a related fashion, I know that you kind of take this hardline stance. You've owned I don't know if somebody gave you the name or you took it on yourself of being the bully, the sheriff, whatever it is. Um, have you ever thought that maybe things could be different if you were more collaborative in some instances rather than just shutting things down?
Yeah. So I will answer both,
Please.
and very candidly, right?
Hmm.
So I'll start from the second question first. Collaborative, right? I am actually extremely collaborative. Can you tell me that? I
Well,
am collaborative with you. right?
You have been, and again, you and I have had actually several conversations beyond this. I
Yes,
didn't want people to come in thinking that I was just going to have you on here and just give you open whatever. In fact, you
exactly.
told me beforehand several times,
Yes,
ask me the
yes.
hard questions, and I hope that
Absolutely.
you feel like
Hard,
I'm doing that.
and these are the hard questions, right?
Mhm.
So these are the hard questions, and I will answer them. And that these are, I think, a very productive conversation. So, as opposed to the popular thought, and the popular thought only comes from reading a
Mhm.
few conversation in Discord, that I'm not being very collaborative, I'm not being very positive. It's incorrect. I am actually extremely collaborative. I have moved many people from the depth of complete ignorance to they are kind of celebrities of Splinterland or celebrities of Hive,
In what way?
in ways that they have their voices heard. They have their voices heard.
Because you're
Let me
disagreeing with them.
No,
Oh, because
not because
you're
of I
championing
I
them.
disagree with them. Let me give you a real person's example, right?
Okay.
A real person example. So look up Level of Life and Mango Mayhem. Okay.
Hmm.
Level Up Life and Mango Mayhem, they started very recently, probably after you. Okay. Probably after you. They are both from Philippines. Well, actually, Level Up is from
Yeah.
Las Vegas. He
I,
moved to Philippines.
yeah. I
And
speak with Level Up Life regularly, so I
yeah,
know a little bit
so
more of the
you
story.
know Level Up. You know
Yeah.
Level Up very well. So when they started actually, Level Up started even earlier, right? Mango
Mhm.
started much later, right? So Level Up, started during Original Land, I think. But and they had a community of Filipino people, right?
Yeah.
They are based in Calberg City and all that stuff. So, but they were not visible, right? They are not visible. When they started, they felt like they don't belong, but they actually contribute, or they have a community, a local community, a very large local community of Filipino players, and they are the best manual players currently we have in the
Hmm.
game. They play manually, and they do that because the employment level is lower there, the standard of living is lower, and there are a lot of young people there. They have time in their hand.
Hmm.
So that's why Axie was so popular in Philippines. So when that happened, we thought, and not just me, many people, Aggie was there. He did a show in Philippines and then in South Korea during the very early days.
Yeah.
So, anyways, the thought there was, this is a human population where the standard of living is low, and this is where this game can actually provide the most impact. We
Hmm.
just named the country where it actually is making impact, right?
Yeah.
Still today.
There's
And
multiple.
Philippines
Yeah.
is one of them.
Hmm.
Philippines is one of them. So when they were kind of trying to make a headway, I talked to them, and I essentially said, okay, what can I do? What can I do so that you guys have a voice? So there are two things I can do. First, I said to them, look, you are not grassroots people. Mango, you are from south of London, right? So you actually have an investment, you have a restaurant, you
Hmm.
own several houses, you can put money, you can put a few $1,000s. Why you are having such a low stake? You can buy your stake. So they listened. Mango listened, bought stake. Okay. So then you are leading this community of Filipino players. You know them personally.
Hmm.
Why don't you promote them? Why don't you do something for them? Some of them they can write a Hive blog. Okay. Why don't you create a curation account and you promote their Hive post? I delegated HP to them so that
Hmm.
they can promote it. I still often go and I vote. I have a substantial stake in Hive. So I can actually move, I can make people visible or invisible. But that's
Hmm.
another thing that people complain about, the
Yeah.
invisible part, right? So I can talk about it as well.
Yeah. We'll get
So
there.
again, that's how you make an impact. And the impact comes from you always see the positive things as the only thing, but there are a lot of things go behind the scene. Hive is actually slightly different compared to Splinterland, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
where you can actually post. You can post your content. This video, you are going to post this video on Hive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to upvote this video. And based on my upvote and other curation upvote, if that is successful, in 7 days, you are going to get a reward.
Yeah.
You are not entitled to that reward. After sound, you are not entitled. The
Yep.
reward is only yours at day 7 at payout. Before that, people can upvote it, people can
Mm-hmm.
downvote it. You have no control whatsoever on that. You do not own that money. You only own that money after that post
After it's
go
over.
to payout.
Yeah.
Okay? This is another simple thing people don't understand. Okay? And why do they don't they understand? Again, it's money, right? So
Yeah.
I can make an AI post, I can make an automated post on Splinterland or anything. These days is extremely easy. It takes
Mm-hmm.
5 minutes and I can make a 2000 word post. Okay. And I keep posting it 5 times a day in, day out. And some by some mechanism, I got some people to vote for it.
Yeah.
Is that content?
Well, depends on the value that it provides,
Yes.
but that's the thing. A lot of these end up being exploited, right?
Yes.
Very badly to take
Yes.
advantage of the reward system.
Exactly.
So
So if there is no downvote, if there is nobody like me out there, what is going to happen to the reward pool? It's the same thing that is going to happen, to all the bots when they
yeah,
were
with
going
Splinterland.
rampant, right?
Mhm.
It's the same
I,
mechanism, right? If you let them do it, they will do
mhm.
it. And
You
if you stop them from doing it, you are the bad guy.
so okay. Well, I think the criticism, and we'll come back to this now. Well, it's funny because you probably view yourself like the Thanos of Hive, then, right? you
Yes, I
you bring
am.
you bring balance. So, but when people try to put a reward or sorry, a proposal out there, I
Mhm.
think one of the criticisms that's been laid at you, which I think would be good to address, is why do you downweight it or downvote it with your entire stake weight?
Yes, good, very good point. I will explain.
Because you can
I
make
will
you can make
explain.
your point, right, by just not
Yes,
by not muting the account or silencing the account. So why do
yeah,
you
yeah,
do that?
yeah, exactly. And I will explain. And this is again extremely deliberate. So
Hmm.
this is not an accident. This is not lazy. It is deliberate. And here is my reason. Why is it that you actually have to submit the proposal? Why can't you just write and seek feedback? Why you have to burn, you know, 100K DC and push a finished product?
On
If
Hive?
you want to have a conversation, write a post. It's free to write, it's free to seek feedback.
Hmm.
Okay. When the proposal system was conceived, one of the thought process was, okay, first there was nothing, right? We are kind of making it as it goes,
Yeah.
right? Because again, we are at the cutting edge, we are learning as we go. So there was no pre-proposal, but then there is pre-proposal, right? So this is, you are talking about the pre-proposal, but
Hmm.
at the time of pre-proposal you have already burned the DC.
Yeah.
Why do you have to do that? What's the rush? Come to the pre-proposal after you have formulated the proposal, seek feedback, engaged with the community. How many proposals did I forward?
Zero.
Right? Am I an active member of the community? I think people will agree on that at
Oh
least.
yeah. Very
I
active.
am an active. I'm
Yeah.
probably too active, right? That's the complaint against me. I'm probably too active. Yet I have never forwarded a proposal. Why? Because there's plenty of proposals to vote for. There are plenty of ideas going around. I don't
Yeah.
think I can contribute anything more right now to
Sure.
forwarding a proposal. So, what I have said always, Discord is not an area of conversation because you do not keep record. Within 5 minutes, it goes back.
Yeah.
It is very difficult to search. There is no record of a conversation.
And we've
If
wiped the
you
Discord because of hacks in the past too. So you lose all of that.
exactly, yeah, it's wiped and it's you lose all of that, right? So if you have after sound, if you have an idea, if you have an original idea, write a post about that idea. Have people discuss. Let people contribute. Do it for weeks, if not months,
Hmm.
and then burn the DC and write the pre-proposal. If you a pre-proposal is already a well should be already a well thought out
Yeah.
concept from my point of view. Okay, from my point of view, when you are at the pre-proposal stage, that concept should be pretty well documented, have most of the major people's feedback so that you don't change it, right? So you do not do a major change. I'll give you an example.
Hmm.
Oh, Dow want to hire Clebion. Nope, I am gang. I am right here, and I am going to on day 5. I am going to push Weird Beard into this and going to edit the proposal.
Yeah.
That is not the way to do it. That is not the process. Can you do it? Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Are you successful? No, you are not successful. You
Well,
clearly are not
I,
successful.
I still I still want to push back and ask, why do you downvote with the entire
Yes,
stake weight?
so that people are discouraged to put any random thing out there, a
But
random
I
thing.
would say some of the stuff
That
that
is my thought process.
you've downvoted in the past fully, I don't think that it was brought in any way that was I don't know, controversial, or they were trying to
Mhm,
do something. I mean,
mhm.
and again, like it's your stake weight. You could do what you want. I just wanted to give you an opportunity
No, no,
to
no.
explain
I
why.
will answer the question. In every single instance, if you give me a specific example, I have a specific reason I can tell you. So
Okay,
I will just take two random things where I have downvoted, and this is what is called nuking the account. That's what
sure.
you were talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Nuking the account. So I'll give you two n member spectrum in two completely different cases. One is Nard Sihulhu.
Yeah,
What's
Nerd
his name?
Cthulhu, I think. Yeah, Nerd
Yeah,
Cthulhu.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So he always talk. He has all kinds of ideas, right?
Hmm.
Every day he comes up with a new idea, and one of his major idea is this LP. Dow gets into LP. This this frame of ideas. There are several things around that. So he
Hmm.
came up with one of the proposal, and this is one of his earlier proposal, and I nuked it to zero. I nuked it to negative. So his reputation went negative, right? And this is what you are talking about.
Yeah,
First of all, reputation means nothing, right? That has no value. What it is just behind. If it goes negative on the Hive front end, on some of the front end, it is behind a click. The effect is actually here. The effect is mental. And the downvote was given for the
okay,
mental effect, right? For the mental reason.
sure.
Physically, there is nothing happens to the person. There's nothing happens to the reputation. This post is still there. It is readable. It's just behind one click. That's all it is. And in this particular case, later on, couple of weeks later, I went back to him and I said, "Oh, how come your reputation is -3? Did I do that?" And he said, "Well, yes, you did." And I said, "Okay, no problem. Post something else, write a comment, and I'll upvote it. I can upvote that person twice, and the reputation is restored. So really, no harm done, right?"
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Now
I can
I'll
actually.
give
You're
you
trying to
another
make it.
example.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll
Sorry.
give you another example. So this is a no frill example. Wolf's proposal. This particular game, what is that called?
For Splinter
Splint
Royale.
Splinter Royale, right?
Hmm.
So Wolf, you guys don't know much about Wolf, right? So the issue with Wolf, and you have to go back many years,
Hmm.
and you got to talk to many people to really understand who he is and where he's come from. There is nothing wrong with the game. Let's say there is nothing wrong with his developing capability. That's not the discussion right here.
Sure.
The reason I downvoted, I tried to nuke it, and it's not nuke, by the way. It is up. Other people have upvoted it, and the
Sure.
reputation is restored. So there is again, I do not have that much power to keep something below zero for long.
Hmm.
And I already explained it doesn't do anything. It's just a mental thing,
Hmm.
and due to that mental thing, I'm doing it. So the problem with the reason I did that, not only the game is a copy, and that's not just I said, many people have said that it's a
I
copy.
think it said it even in the proposal itself.
Yes. So one of the things that Hive promotes, that content should be original. That is a cornerstone thing of Hive.
Hmm.
We promote original content. A game coming out of Hive, of the Hive ecosystem, should be original or as original as possible. It can have some essence. These
Yeah.
days, it can have some essence, some elements from other games. Splinterland does have some essence from other game. That's not an issue. But the game needs to be original. It cannot be a copy. It is a copy. Multiple people said that. As you said, the statement said that it's a copy. So I do not support.
Sorry, the statement didn't say that. It just said it's inspired very much by this type of
Yes,
game.
yes. Okay. So that's the first thing. Second thing, Wolf as an individual, he's an abuser of reward pool. He has been for a very long time, right? There are
Hmm.
numerous examples of that. And by abusers, I mean he's a developer. He essentially created many auto posts in the past. And he used to control a thing called a bitbot. It
Hmm.
was the largest bitbot. He says that. Smart Stream. You can go look it up.
This is on
And what
Hive,
it
not
is,
Splinterlands, but Hive specifically, right?
Hive.
Okay,
Absolutely Hive. I'm talking about Hive. Right
got it.
now I'm talking because upvote and download new king. This is all features of Hive. There is
Yeah,
no
no,
Splinterland involved.
I'm just saying
This is
for
all a Hive discussion
yeah. I'm
right
just
now.
saying specifically about the Wolf thing because Matt came on and talked about how Wolf was part of the team as well.
Yes.
So you're saying that
And
your
that's
history with
Matt's
him,
opinion.
yeah, yeah.
That's
So,
Matt's opinion. And that is a good opinion. I respect that. Right?
mhm,
Matt probably did from Matt's point of view, he wanted to promote Wolf because he thinks that this game is going to be helpful to Splinterland ecosystem.
sure.
That's what Matt thinks. Matt is not always right. Remember, Matt downvoted the Battle Helper proposal,
I was
right?
cherry picking, but it's okay. I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. So he's just a human being. He
Yeah.
doesn't have to be right all the time.
I well,
Cherry picking
I
is what we do,
I agree with
right?
that. You know,
Right.
I respect the hell out of Matt and what he's trying to do, but
And me
you know,
too. He's my friend.
but he's human just like everybody else,
He's
right?
just
And
a
so
human. And I
whenever
make mistakes
yeah.
too. I make mistakes. I will be the first person to say I
Mhm.
make a lot of mistakes. But, you know, a lot of the things that I do is deliberate. And there are a lot of the things, that can be mistakes. So far, everything that you have asked me, it is all deliberate. It's not a mistake.
Mhm.
So the reason I'm against Wolf, because I think this is a massive abuse of reward pool. What he's trying to do, he doesn't have a game, he's just a concept. If he wants to build a game, he can always build a game. There is no problem. And see if he can build a community.
Yeah.
He can actually get people involved. And if there is people involved, if there is a value to be had from that game as a DAO stakeholder, I will support that in future if I see a value. Right now, I see there is 500 people in Splinterland and we cannot support another game. There is no additional money coming into the ecosystem from the same people.
Yeah, I can understand the argument. It would cannibalize a lot of Splinterlands
It
because
is
it's
it
just
is going to
more
cannibalize.
yeah.
It is going to cannibalize our net asset because if there is 500 people, our cumulative asset is more or less fixed, right?
Well,
It's a
yeah,
finite number.
most people aren't bringing new capital in, so it would have to come from
Most
somewhere.
people are not bringing new
Yeah.
capital, so it's a finite number. And if it is a finite number, if you have five other things, it will get distributed within
Mhm.
the five other things. That's cannibalization.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. So I do not see any value right now on that game. So that's why I'm against it. And I nuked it for a specific reason. And the reason is I want to target them and I want to point out that he is a long-term abuser and he's trying to game the system again, yet
Mhm.
again.
Well, so taking a step back from this, I appreciate you going into those two specific things, but I think a broader or more high level issue that we're facing is the fact that the pre proposal phase shouldn't be on Hive at all anyway to begin with. I mean, ideally, right? Because
It
a
can
lot
be
of
on notebook if you want. It
but
can be on anything.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, we spent the last however many minutes talking about like this process because it could be used to abuse Hive or whatever the case is. But
Yeah,
ideally, where we're trying to go, none of this should be an issue because you're not voting with your Hive stake; you'd be voting with your SPS stake. And I think
yeah.
that's one of the things that I'm hoping Clayboyne will be able to do. And I don't know if you've had any conversations with him directly, but I know
Many,
oh
many
you have okay.
conversations.
So I mean, we're obviously both in support of his role, and one of the things that I'm hoping he'll be able to do is something that I think is happening in kind of behind the scenes right now, which is the soft consensus layer, right? Where you
Yeah,
do talk to the top 200 stakeholders or have a place for them to come in and give their ideas, so that when a proposal comes in, to your point, it doesn't get changed around and it doesn't have whatever. It's ready to go because most of the people have already given their feedback.
yes,
You don't have to burn the 100,000 DEC. So my
yeah.
hope is that we can
No,
move to a better system
yes.
over time.
You can do it on YouTube. If you make YouTube video, if you
Hmm.
have an idea, you can talk about that idea on your channel and then post that.
Post it there. Yeah.
If you don't like Hive, post it on wherever in
Well,
your blog post. I don't care.
yeah,
I
well,
mean,
no, but right now the mechanism still requires to go through Hive. But I understand what you're saying, right? And this
yeah,
is what I do use the channel for. As I
right.
I throw ideas out all the time, and I tell people,
Yes,
rip me apart in the comments, make it better, right? If you don't
yeah.
like it, make it better because that's what this process is for.
Also, the other thing people don't understand, when I say that this particular thing is not going to pass, how do I say that? I'm not making it up. Believe me, I'm not making it up. I'm pretty good at math, and this is basic arithmetic. I know who is going to vote what,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And
Well, you've had
basically,
conversations with people on what they're going
right.
to vote. Yeah.
And why would I need to have that conversation? If you forward a proposal, wouldn't you want that proposal to pass? That's the whole reason you are
Yeah.
writing a proposal. You
Yeah.
want that proposal to pass. There is no point forwarding a failed proposal. I mean, you can have a discussion. You can have discussion all you want, right? But after the discussion, if it is clear that that proposal will not pass, don't forward it.
Yeah.
This wolf proposal, this splinter royale, whatever that thing is, that proposal will not pass. Okay, it went through its pre-proposal thing. It is not in game yet. I don't think Matt should even forward it to the community as in-game proposal, because it's completely waste of time. It is not going to pass. I mean, it does not have the number. I talked to the people and they will not vote
Yeah.
for it. Majority of the shareholder
Hmm.
are not going to vote for it. It's a fact.
It still
You
needs to go
you
through the full process, though.
okay?
Because you know
Go.
what? Somebody, and then you might have inspired someone in the past where when it came to the battle helper, you went out and you bought
Yes.
more SPS to make
Yes.
sure that it passed, right? So
Yes.
to follow protocol, it should still come out. I mean, I understand what you're saying. At this point in
Yes.
time, the stakeholders you talked to have said it's not going to pass. But if
Yes.
somebody feels strongly about it, the opportunity should be there still.
Yeah. And that is, I cannot control that, right?
Hmm.
That is beyond my control. If you want to write a proposal and forward it, go ahead and forward it.
Hmm.
I am just saying this is my personal opinion, and this is my personal speculation that it is not going to pass. If you still want to forward it, go ahead and forward it. I'm going to downvote it. And I know I can count in my finger how many top shareholders,
Yeah.
how many top stakeholders will downvote it. And you understand that this is basic arithmetic. It's
Hmm.
actually
Yeah. Yeah.
easier to block a proposal than to pass a proposal.
Yeah. You just need
It
34,
only requires
34%.
34%,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's only required 34%. 34% I can manufacture like this.
Well, I
It's
mean,
it's not going to take any effort to do that.
so going back to the Claiborne thing, this is what I'm hoping he'll be able to address because right now I think what ends up happening is you get so many people in the community getting very polarized about
Yes.
pro proposal, anti proposal, and all of that is mired on top of the fact that the proposal is, or the pre-proposal is still moldable, right? It's still changeable. Um,
Yes.
whereas in the future, my hope is that if Clay is able to get this consensus layer, it will actually reduce the amount of discussion that's publicly had, which a lot of that, I think you'll agree, a lot of that's just noise, right? People throwing opinions left and
Yes.
right. And especially, and not to SPS stake shame, but a lot of times it's coming from people who don't have the stake to back up their opinion,
Yeah.
right?
So I will talk about stake shame, and I will talk about this consensus layer both. First of all, this is my recommendation and to you after sound, since you talked about consensus layer.
Mm-hmm.
Don't use like very complicated things. What you are saying can be achieved at, if you meet face to face, five individuals can meet face to face in a diner, like the image you posted the other
Mm-hmm.
day. You
Yep.
recently went to Georgia
Yep.
and met with a few fellow stakeholders, and you had a lunch or dinner or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you can talk about any proposal during that time.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, in reality, these days it is not possible to meet face to face. Obviously, we are scattered around all over the world. That's impossible. That conversation can be had in Discord. That conversation can be had in any chat
Yeah.
platform that you like. Just get to a consensus, or
Mm-hmm.
get, not even a consensus, just get the discussion going, so that, as opposed to 10 people saying random things, one people accumulate those random 10 things as a single comment and put that single comment.
Yeah.
That can be happened in a post, that can be happened in a number of different ways. It can be happened in a video. After sound, you can make a video saying, okay, I talked to this and this guy, this 10 guys, this is our total cumulative stake,
Mm-hmm.
50,000 each time 10, this is 500,000 stake, 500,000 stake to SPS, this is how we are going to vote and on this proposal, and this is our thought,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Well, so to your point, right? Like I've never put a proposal forth, and that it's just I've never felt strongly about certain ideas,
Yeah,
or there's already
exactly.
been a proposal. But
Yeah,
for me, I wouldn't want to waste my time or my DEC after
yeah,
talking with Matt, right? If I were to consult with Matt first,
yeah,
my next steps would be to go to Vugtis, to go to you, to go to many of the
yeah,
other top stakeholders and say, like,
exactly.
I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to, like how do you feel about this?
Yeah,
What would you
exactly.
change? You know what I mean? But this is what I'm saying. Where why I think Clay provides that value is because he could be
Yeah,
that single point of contact that
yeah,
has
yeah, sure.
everybody. You know what I mean? But
100% in agreement. There is no
yeah.
issue there. Yes,
So
yes.
it just comes down to like the way that the system is set up now, and a lot of people are not going to like that because they're going to say, oh well, look, you have Azircon and Vugtis, all these people as the gatekeepers. Well, at the end of the day, as you said, and as I agreed, it's not
I
it's not
am the gatekeeper.
it's
Get
not a
used to it.
it's not a democracy. Well, here's the thing: you're the gatekeeper. People can get used to it, or they can go buy SPS. Right? They can
Right.
go buy
Go
SPS
go
to offer
buy
quickly.
go buy 10 million SPS.
Yeah,
Vaktis has 11 million. Buy 12 million. You'll be more than Vaktis, and
yeah,
you are the gatekeeper.
yeah. So I
And
think.
also, by the way, Vaktis alone, or me alone, or Brave Tofu alone, none of us alone can push a proposal, pass a proposal.
Well, you're
Why?
only
Because I
three,
just
4%,
proved.
right? Yeah,
Right. I am 1%. Three of us together is little more than 3%.
yeah.
In order to pass a proposal, you need 67%. So clearly, three of us, we cannot pass a proposal.
Well, why do you speak so why do you speak so confidently when you say this will pass and this won't pass then?
Because I have talked to them.
You've
I
talked
have
to
talked to
other
I
than
have
Vugtis and
talked to 25 people.
all right, fair
I
enough.
have to talk. I have spoken to
Mhm.
25 people on Wolf proposal. So I know how they are going to vote.
Got it. Okay.
And Wolf haven't. And don't you think Wolf should?
Wolf hasn't talked to you, you mean?
No, not just me. Wolf hasn't talked to anybody.
Yeah. Well, this is what I'm saying where in the future my hope is that people don't end up wasting their DEC by just putting something out there. We
For Wolf, 100,000 DC is nothing. So,
sure. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, for Wolf, it doesn't matter.
Well, I'm not even talking about Wolf anymore. I'm just talking
Right,
about the simple fact that, like,
right.
I would like these things to be more thought out, and have gone through soft passes with Matt, soft passes with you and
Yeah.
Vugtis, and a lot of the. I mean, even someone like me, right? Like, I think I've only been approached once or twice, and I don't even know if I've done videos. But it's like, if somebody has a proposal idea, feel free to reach out to me. Come and
Yeah.
talk about it on the channel first. Get
Yeah.
feedback from the community here, or as you say, post a uh, an idea of it on Hive first, right? Get
Yeah.
feedback through that.
Yeah.
Maybe tag you, tag someone else.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, this is just the system that we have now, and
Yeah.
until that changes, this is the best way to play within the rules.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I know we're coming up on about an hour and a
Yeah.
half here.
Yeah.
I
Hour
want to
and
be
a half. Yeah. So
Well, I want to be respectful of your time and give you just a moment for any kind of final thoughts, or if we're done with a lot of stuff that you wanted to discuss. My final question would be, how are you feeling now in October, end of October 2023? We've gone through two rounds of layoffs over the past 2 months, or I'm sorry, the past 12 months. We're seeing all-time lows, but also there's a little bit of excitement with rebellion around the corner.
yeah. So, I feel pretty good about it,
Hmm.
but, that doesn't mean much because, I don't know the future. You don't know the future.
Sure.
And Aggie and Matt definitely doesn't know the future. Believe me that, right? They do not
Well, they
know
know
the
what they're going to
future.
do. It's a matter of when that
Yeah,
they're going to do it.
but they do
Yeah.
not know the future, right?
Sure.
They know
Yeah.
what they're going to do. They just do not know what's going to happen to the price of SPS or DEC or the
Yeah.
PAX or whole 9 yards, right? Nobody
Hmm.
knows that, right? So that's that. I think the layoffs and other things, and the overall direction of the game right now. I think we have cut through a lot of fat,
Hmm.
right? Let's that is the blunt way of putting it.
Sure. Yeah.
So realize that I have hired many people and I have fired many people, right? In my job in real life, and it is not easy. That is not something I want to do, right? Because there is usually a person, a human being involved.
Yeah.
And if you are the one going to have to go and say, after sound, sorry, man, you do not have a job tomorrow, and that's it. This is what it is. I cannot pay you and still be profitable as a
Hmm.
company. That is not a message I want to give to you, to anyone, and I don't think anybody in the world want to give the message to another human being. It
Yeah.
is not fun, right? It is not a fun message to give.
Agreed.
So I am sure it is incredibly hard for Aggie and Matt that they have to give this message to this many people. So not only we need to be respectful to them,
Hmm.
also we need to be respectful to those other people who have been let go. Okay. So one of the things I try to do in the Discord, I try for the community to be extremely respectful to the Splinter Learn employees and people who are directly involved with the game.
Hmm.
You are there yourself,
Yeah.
right? Clay was there. Can you imagine after sound if you are hired for a particular position? What Clay has to go through last couple of weeks
Yeah. It's
for this? Can you imagine
it's a,
that?
it's a public interview with some of the angriest people out there.
Right. And
Yeah.
not only just that, how they deliver that message,
Yeah.
how much gripe people say about $60,000 a year salary.
Hmm.
Sitting in Houston after sound, you and I were sitting in Houston, and
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to make a racial comment here, okay, and I'm going to make a racial comment exactly like this. I know $60,000 is a lot of money in India. Why I'm making that racial comment? Because I am from India. I know
Hmm.
exactly how much $60,000 is worth in India.
Sure.
Okay, it is a life-changing amount for many people in India. But at the same time, if you are in a cutting-edge tech industry in Mumbai, $60,000 after tax, $4,000 a month, that translates to approximately 400,000 rupees in Mumbai. That is not going to give you any high life in Mumbai, believe
Yeah.
me. That is not going to give you any high life. It's an extremely expensive city. So again, this discussion about salary and the way it was handled,
Hmm.
it is always going to be, if you are in Timbuktu, you can do a lot with $60,000, and you cannot do that much in Houston.
Yeah. Well,
Why that is
I
a
was gonna say, yeah.
why that is a discussion? Why
Hmm.
this is a discussion? The proposal is $60,000. That's the way it passed the pre-proposal period.
Yeah.
That is the proposal. Either you vote it or downvote it. You have downvoted it. Shut it.
Yeah.
Shut it.
I agree with that. Where the money is being spent, where the person lives doesn't matter. What we're
Doesn't
asking
matter.
is the $60,000, is does that bring value? Is it worth the value that
Yes,
Clay
and
is going to
I
bring?
believe it does. I believe
Agreed.
it does. I want Clay to be an happy employee. I am not going to nickel and dime it just because I can. There is
Hmm.
one person in your stream last time, I mean this weekend, asked the question. I do not know who that was, so you can tell me. Ask the question, Clay, can you actually take a salary cut for the first 3 months, and then we will evaluate and we will give you this salary, and later on, if we are satisfied? The answer to that, from my point of view, is imagine yourself in that position, right? Imagine
Hmm.
yourself in that position. You are stiffing on a
Yeah.
tip. Is that what you're doing?
Well, stiffing. Okay, I understand where you're coming from. Again, I'm agreeing with you here because one thing that I think even the other person that you'd mentioned, I think most people will agree that the DAO needs some kind of management, right? The DAO
Yes.
needs some kind somebody there to give it a little bit of leadership. And to your point, one of the biggest things that's come across, especially with the other criticisms that have come out there, is like, oh, why wasn't this an open position? Why wasn't well, nobody else has applied for it. So
Exactly.
you have somebody that wants to work for this much amount. It's a very simple, is it worth the value that they're bringing because they're being passionate about, what they do, that they're an
Yes.
active member of the community, or are they not, right? Like again,
Yeah.
I love Weirdbeard. I have a lot of respect for Gank. I think he's got his heart in the right place. But
Yeah, me too.
that was like an awkward conversation because it's just
Yeah.
like we're talking about Clayboy and his job here. If we do something with Weirdbeard, there should be a separate proposal, and it should be we
Yeah.
should evaluate the amount of money versus the perceived value that Weirdbeard thinks he can bring, right? That should have been something completely separate.
And either he needs to submit it, or Matt needs to submit it, or someone else needs to submit it. That
Yeah.
proposal needs to be written,
Mhm.
discussed, and submitted. It's as simple as that. I mean, it is not like you create a proposal and then you try and push another person into it, and that person is not even 100% interested. I listened to that. I saw that video.
Mhm.
I never felt for a second he was interested, right?
Oh,
I
you're
mean,
talking about
why would
Weirdbeard?
you?
Yeah.
Yeah, why would you? Think about it. First of all, he is in the United States. We're talking about $60,000. Now you are going to divvy up between two people, so
Yeah.
it's $30,000. Who works for $30,000?
I think they increased it to 40 each, but yeah, again, the
It doesn't matter.
numbers don't
It
matter.
doesn't
Yeah.
matter, right? It's not a elementary school teacher salary. It's not a janitor's salary,
Yeah.
right? So you can make more money driving Uber, right? So
Mhm.
who are we talking about? I mean, and this is actually the way people think. Like, we are like so deranged, so low level. This is actually a cutting edge blockchain tech company. We are hiring an executive. Don't you want that person to feel better?
Mhm. Yeah.
Clay
Yep.
is an executive for our company. That's
Well,
that's the image
yeah.
I want to project. If I talk to externally to some other person that who doesn't know Splinterland, I'm going to say, oh, we have this DAO, and we are a cutting edge blockchain tech company. We are a startup. See, we are hiring from this decentralized organization. We are
Mhm.
hiring an executive who's going to be our first employee. That's the way I'm going to project it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you and I, we can. There's already been enough conversation about the Claiborne thing, and I think you and I are both on the same page of wanting him there. But aside from that, is there any other things you wanted to share? Again, I just want to be respectful of your time.
No, no, no. I think we have talked on most points, and
Mhm.
I want to give you the opportunity. Did you ask me all the questions you wanted to ask me, or did you feel that you have been able to ask all the hard questions, and I have been able to answer those questions directly?
Yes, and again, I appreciate you taking the time to come here, right? Like you again, you and I think we met last year at Splinterfest. We've talked, had a couple of conversations here and there, and again, even though I say that I disagree with you, it's never from a place of like, antagonizing or whatever. It's I respect where you're coming from, and I know that
Yeah,
you have the best intentions. I might disagree with your methods sometimes, right?
yeah,
But
absolutely.
I wanted to give you the opportunity here to kind of talk through that because I don't know, like you're obviously one of the biggest stakeholders in the game. Um, all the conversations, private conversations that you and I have had, you've been incredibly constructive and helpful for me, just in my own understanding of Hive and my own
Yeah,
understanding of Splinterlands. So I know you take on this persona of the sheriff, the bully, whatever it is, but I see a little bit behind the curtain. I know you have good intentions, and I think it's important for people to see that. And if they want to be able to communicate with you, right? Why do you do the things that you do? And
yeah,
maybe it would be better for them just to reach out to you directly.
yeah,
And it's kind of what I
absolutely.
was trying to cover here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am extremely approachable. My Discord is open. Anybody can drop me a message,
Hmm.
right? So, I am usually there in the chat anyway. So,
Yeah.
it is not difficult to reach me. Do not be abusive to me. If you are abusive to me, I'm going to block you. It's as simple as that, right?
Hmm.
So, if you are respectful to me, I am going to be respectful to you. And it is this is basic human nature, right?
This should be
Because
the case for
I
everybody.
have
Yeah.
to, yeah, I have to protect my mental health, right? I do not have time. I have a full-time day job. I do not have I spend way too much time on Sprinterland, way too
I
much
think we
time,
all probably do. But yeah,
right? So that I don't need to spend any more time than I
agreed.
already do, right?
Agreed.
That's definitely the thing. And again, if you have any individual, you talk to a lot of people, right?
Hmm.
If you have any individual who needs any kind of guidance, how things work, what are the things they can do, what is this thing in Hive, you can ask them to get in touch with me. You can get in touch with me, and I will help you. I
Well,
mean, no problem
I I
at
I
all.
I appreciate that, and I wanted to make sure that we did say that for people, just because I don't know. It seems like things have gotten just much more contentious, and
Yes.
I know maybe sometimes you do it for fun or you have your reasons for it or whatever, but I do consider you a valuable asset to the game economy and the community. So I
Yeah.
think I thank you again for coming on to talk about this. And
Yeah. Absolutely.
something I should have mentioned at the beginning. Also, thank you for the you sent some Hive for the tournaments we were running over the weekend. So
Oh, anytime.
I bought
Yeah.
some Rebellion packs with it and
Cool.
gave it away. So thank you again
All
for
right.
that.
Excellent. Yeah, no problem. And in future, if you know how to find me, if you
Mhm,
want to talk to me, if you want to have a conversation with me, just like we just did, you know, everything is wide open. My door is wide open.
mhm.
You can say anything you want to me one on one, and I'll be happy to help you.
Yep. Well, look, this has been fantastic conversation. I think we covered all the things that I wanted to cover. It sounds like the same for you. So, if anybody has any questions, thoughts, you know where to reach either myself or Azircon. But Azircon, thank you again for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, and you can post it as is. I mean, no editing is necessary from my end. So,
Perfect. Okay. Won't be edited. Stick around 1 second. I'm gonna go ahead and end the recording now. All right. Thank you everybody for tuning in. See you in the next video.